All right. Well,
that's so not fair.
Well, it's not fair.
The production values. I want production values like that.
That's minimal stuff right there. It's minimal stuff. We got a great guest on today to talk on the Husky Huddle to talk about the recap of Duke unfortunately beating Uconn, but Uconn had a chance to actually had the game. They were in the league,
and I found it.
Yeah, I found it. I couldn't get it because I think it was on like ESPN3. So
it was on ESPN Plus, yeah.
Plus, I had to go to the recap. But we have a great guest on, Ronel Jumpp, who was a standout defensive lineman at the University of Connecticut. Now runs Green Street Trust and Capital. Does a great job of providing a multitude of financial services, but most importantly, being able to leverage your trust, your own family trust, to be able to give yourself great wealth in the future and success. So we're glad to have him on because we're going to talk some Uconn football here. I'm sure he has an opinion one way or the other on the game. But I'll open with this. They definitely carried over some of the momentum from the last game into this game. I think Duke is an okay team. You know, they struggle with Northwestern, who's probably a little down right now and rebuilding. But Duke beat them, and they were 2-0 at the time, now 3-0. And Uconn was up and really had plenty of chances to win this game. But Duke ended up pulling it out. I think it was 27-21 in a close game. Ronel, it's great to have you on.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys inviting me on. Thank you. Thanks, David, and thank you, Steve.
It's always a pleasure to talk to Ronel. I was scared of him for 2 years, but he's the nicest guy in the world.
I'll tell you a quick Ronel Jumpp story. Okay, this is when I was a Ronel. You were what? There 2 years when I was there, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So he
I came in your junior year.
Yeah, I was gonna be okay. Perfect. So Ronel, when he comes in and, we come in, we have to do the bench press, right?
Oh,
okay. And, you do your test. I did like 385 or whatever, but he you come in and I think Richie Connors probably could bench 400. There might've been one other guy, maybe on the team. Maybe one other. Ronel Jumpp does 400. Okay. As a freshman. And I just remember Skip Holtz going, "You guys, we have a freshman that's doing 400." And we had like one other guy, maybe Richie Connors, or one other guy, probably I think, yeah. But Ronel was benching 400. He was obviously a powerlifting, not just a great football player, but a powerlifting champion. And benching 400. I said, my goodness. And when he came in, he literally, if you were to say physically on the team who most look like Lee Haney, that would be Ronel Jumpp. He was like Lee Haney. I don't know if you know who Lee Haney is.
I do. Very, very well.
Yep. Oh man, he was jacked out of his mind. I said, "Oh my goodness, we're bringing in different players now." So we're really trying to win. We're really trying to win some games now. So that was my impression of now. Obviously, I knew Ronel from when he came on his recruiting trip, and we spent a lot of time together when he was, getting ready, visiting Uconn, and I got to talk to him a lot. But when I saw him work out, that was the first time I was like, "Oh man, this guy's the truth physically, man. He was the truth."
Yeah, I got taught the country mile by Ronel on a daily basis my freshman year.
Yes, I could imagine your freshman year having
country mile,
having to handle a 22-year-old version. You know what I mean? So I could only imagine how strong he was at that point. But it's great having you. What were Steve? What were your some initial thoughts of the game?
Well, first, it was positive that I was able to watch it. That was number one. I was able to find it and watch it. I was happy about that. Number two was they got down early and they didn't stop fighting, which I thought was good to see. They showed some resilience. They showed some mettle. They showed some being able to overcome adversity. And, they had a great second quarter. And then just offensively, I felt they were going in the right direction, just feeding them. He can't just give it to them. And Evers did a nice job. He hit some nice RPOs. He can move around a little bit, but I do see where he has kind of happy feet in the pocket where he can stare at the rush. Their edge blockers are very good. Their tackles are good. Their interior struggled and gave up some pressures. But they took the lead. They had the momentum, and I don't like the defense particularly because Duke was going fast, and we looked like we were misaligned a couple times where there was a 3 technique and then nobody to the field. And I saw that, and it scared the hell out of me. And they rolled the coverage the wrong way a couple times. They show the blitz a little too early, but I know that comes with learning a new defense and the new blitz schemes. They tried to pressure him, and I was just I would have been happier with 4-man rush, sit back, play coverage, because they couldn't run with them. The DBs, they played a lot of man, or it was 3 and then it would turn into match man, and they would turn into their back pedal, and they were just toasted. And that was the only thing that bothered me schematically on defense was the second half. We just got nothing going. But I like that we moved the ball with Evers, and I definitely am confident with him that he's the real deal and he can play and lead us to some victories this year.
Ronel, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I have to agree with Steve. I mean, I think, you know what, it's nice to see our guys still compete, and there was a close game. And in the meantime, I think, if they had a little bit more time, I think we probably could have pulled off a win. But I'm definitely excited to see him play against Duke and, at least be very competitive.
Yeah, I think overall, I thought it was Cam Edwards, as you said, Steve, really is showing to be a guy, and so that
he's the guy. Yeah.
On the positive side, I mean, Darrell Robinson, as a backup is obviously a viable guy, but Cam Edwards really kind of established himself as that if we're going to play against good teams and establish a run, that's the guy that's going to have to do it. I thought he went over 100 yards, and then Evers ran good as well. I mean, that's the thing that he took off.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what he brings to it. I think passing is still, a little hit or miss to me. I think he was 15 to 29, 135. That's okay. In today's college football, nothing amazing, but I think coming off the injury, he really.
Well, that's what scared me because he was pulling it down and running it quite a few times, and I'm like, slide, dude. He's going head first, and I was just worried about, the head injury again with him, because when he had time back there and he wasn't worried about the rush.
Right.
He was on point. I thought they tried to throw downfield a little too much. There wasn't a ton of quick game. They tried some screens.
They got Skylar Bell the ball a little bit, but
they do. But he gets chunks, right? And he didn't get chunks. That's his game. But that's what I think they're missing in the passing game. The crossers, the unders, all that underneath stuff that's wide open, especially when they're sitting back, but because they're afraid of a Skylar Bell beating you over the top. So I felt that they had the underneath stuff. I didn't think they protected great inside because he had stuff flying at. I mean, he was dodging bullets all day.
Right.
But he was pretty good maneuvering in the pocket, and then I would get nervous when he would run. They ran the speed option. I did not like that at all, and it ended up getting a first down. So kudos to them on that. I was like, you're going to run speed option here? Really? With this guy? The guy who just cleared concussion protocol? We want to run speed option with him? But it worked, and I was very impressed with his performance. And I think he's the real deal. I it's just disappointing that they didn't get any second half points. That's it. They played a great second quarter, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong way.
In the third period.
I'm looking at the wrong way. Third quarter. They scored the third quarter. Yeah, they didn't score in the fourth quarter. They had a couple opportunities. And it was 26-21. It was just disappointing. I was happy because if you look at the box score at halftime, it was 24-0. So the fact that they were able to regroup, make some adjustments, and come back from that.
What do you mean 24-0? It was 17-7 at the half. Duke.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at
then Uconn was up. At the end of the period, Uconn was up 21-17 going into the third period.
Yes, going into the third. Yes, okay. I read this wrong. They intercepted and returned it for a touchdown.
Yeah, that was at the end of the half. Then Duke kind of took over.
Yeah, you're right. Period. My bad. I was reading this backwards. But
but I think there was a lot of positives.
That
came out of it. I mean, you don't. Losing is tough, but there was a lot of positives in that. They should come out of there knowing that they could play with an ACC level team, be able to compete with that because they, and one that's been very good over the last few years. They're already 3-0 Duke. Even if they hadn't played like phenomenal teams, they're still 3-0. So I think that they should come out definitely with that. I think that they should come out knowing, okay, Cam Edwards is a guy that can really run the ball. We can leverage our offensive line. I thought the defensive line played decently well. I mean, their running back for Duke ran for 120 yards. Quarterback didn't really run much, but the problem that I think is other than the pick that we had, the issue is quarterbacks, chucking the ball over the field with us. So he threw 43 times. He threw, he had like 29 passes. Malik Murphy was a transfer from Texas, I believe, because he was number 3 there. So only behind maybe the number 1 and 2 quarterbacks possibly in the whole country on the same roster, which is Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning are both on the same roster, and they might be the 2 best quarterbacks in the country. But yeah, so Malik Murphy obviously transferred to Duke, but he lit them up. I mean, he lit them up for quite a bit of yards, and I think that's my biggest concern. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's an active work in process. He threw for 267, 3 touchdowns against him, but the issue is just consistently being able to play pass coverage and getting a rush.
You got to get off the field. Yeah, I agree with you.
Because he seemed to have a good amount of time and complete a lot of passes. He did a lot of underneath stuff, but it was, we have to be able to get, and I think that's one of the things that, I mean, you've talked about it quite a few times with the 3-5-3 that could be difficult is that you're in a situation where either you've got to be able to get pressure and cover man to man, or if you're dropping a good amount of guys, you've got to be able to have dogs up front that can shut down the run, right? And we're still kind of in that in-between world where we're not quite good enough up front to just, use our 6 guys up front and be able to shut them down between the linebackers and
they got to roll the safety help down.
Right, so we have to get run support help, which makes us vulnerable then in the pass game. So I think that we have to, that's one of the hard things about the 3-5-3. Like, you're if those hybrids are the guys, then you're in business because
you can do anything.
Yeah, you can do anything you want. You could those guys can cover. Those guys come off the edge. They can be extra blitzers for you. They can set the edge. They can roll back and cover. it's really a situation where we have to we kind of have to go, on certain downs, we're going all in on the run. If we don't get it shut down, then they have an advantage in the pass. That has to get short of. Having said that, I thought we were, in the week 3 of it compared to week 1, markedly improved. I mean, Maryland did whatever they wanted in the first game. We worked on
I agree. That's what I was going to ask Ronel, because Duke was really they were going fast. They were going up tempo. And that really limits your calls defensively. I mean, getting a line, getting your coverage, giving your blitz, whatever front coverage blitz. It's very, very basic. You can't call anything that you may have game planned during the week. It really changes the dynamic of the game once tempo's involved. Well, that's what I would say for a D lineman. That's difficult because you're gassed playing the run, and then now you got to rush the passer. So that's a lot to put on your plate.
Yeah, no, it's definitely exciting to see these guys just kind of like Dave said, improve over a period of time. And I mean, like these guys actually, if I recall, wasn't it last year that they beat against Boston College the first time in like history?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. Oh, okay, yeah. But it's just neat to see them able to compete at that level continually over and over again. I know, seeing the program develop, and now they have some good games that are coming up, Syracuse and some of these other ones. I mean, I think it's just a confident builder,
Yeah, no, for sure. When you show that you can go down on the road, night game, 6:00 start at the ACC school, Duke, who's been very good the last few years, even though they lost their coach, Mario Cristobal. I mean, he's no slouch for sure. I just offensively, I'd like to see them get into more of a rhythm. I like their tight end.
You mean Manny Diaz is their head coach? Manny Diaz. You said Mario Cristobal.
Sorry.
Mario Cristobal is the Miami head coach.
All right. Well, they were at the same school.
Manny Diaz.
All right.
They may both be Cuban, but one is
Dave.
One is the Duke's head coach, and the other one is the Miami head coach.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for clearing that up. But yeah,
Manny Diaz has sent a letter your way. He sent a letter your way.
I know. I thought he did a great job.
By the way, Steve, David does have a photographic memory. He was one of the guys on our football team that was very intelligent, and so don't let him fool you.
No, I know. No, believe me, I know.
It's hard to get it past me. It's hard to get things past me.
He's got me plenty of times.
Past Dave.
He's fact checked me. He's fact checked me several times, and he's always right. So yes, I agree. They had a chance. They got 2 big stops in the fourth quarter, and I just felt they didn't take advantage of it offensively. And I like their tight end. I don't think they do enough true hardball play action. And I know they're all out of the gun, and it's tough to do play action out of the gun. I like that they did some RPOs. They hit some RPOs, which were good. But they had, like you said, they had an opportunity to really step up and win that game. And I think that it gives them a lot of momentum going into this week, because they're home for the next 5 weeks. And that's going to be huge. And that's something
this is a very winnable game. Florida Atlantic was 0-2. Coming into this game. They beat this week they beat Florida International 38-20. But they were they lost to Michigan State in a close game. I don't think Michigan State's very good. They lost to Army, got beat up by Army. Army's probably a middle of the road team. They're not the Army from when they were really rolling. You know what I mean? They're still good, but and obviously that offense is always difficult for people to handle. But they struggled. They beat Florida International 38-20, but it wasn't like it wasn't just a railroad. So I think it's a very winnable game. Very, very winnable game. And this should be the start for them of some opportunities.
Well, they have to. Yeah. 5 straight home games.
Yeah, we go Florida Atlantic, we go Buffalo, Temple, Wake Forest will be a tough game. Then Rice, Georgia State, UAB. I mean,
Well, Rice they beat last year, yeah.
Just judging from what I saw against Duke, we could be coming out of, we could win 1, 2, 3. Wake Forest, depending on where they are. Let's say maybe that's a loss. Okay, so that's 4 and 3. Rice would be 5 and 3. Georgia State would be 6 and 3. UAB should be 7. We should be 7 and 3 rolling into Syracuse. If we continue to improve. So I would not, first week I would not have said that. First week I would have said we're going to be 3 and 7 going into Syracuse.
Yeah, after the Maryland game, yeah, for sure. But I guess I was wrong. I was looking at the Duke stats, the stat sheet, and Duke did not have any sacks. I thought they got pressure on them. I thought they had a couple sacks, but they did not. So that's good that they were able to keep Skylar or Nick upright. Yeah, Cam Edwards, 21 for 106. He had the 16-yard run for a touchdown. I thought that was huge. I'm looking at the receiving. Skylar Bell, I mean, he was seven catches, 58 yards. They're still targeting him. He wasn't getting the big chunk plays that he typically was. He had a long of 22. The guy that's just kind of been absent is TJ Sheffield. He had 3 catches for 12 yards. I think they kind of expected more out of him. I know he also returns kicks. So hopefully they can get him going. But, Evers, I like that he pulled it down in 10 carries, 60 yards. I just was worried about him taking hits. They did call, they did call a couple design QB runs, which was good. And he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. And that was encouraging to see. But you got to get more than 135 yards passing. That's where we have to be more productive, I think, Ronel. I mean, because if you're throwing for 135 yards and I mean you're just eating them up up front, and you only have 3 down linemen to begin with. Now they got some hosses up front, but they get gassed. I mean they had some long drives and they were tired, and you could definitely see that in the fourth quarter. But it was a marketed improvement from the Maryland game. I think the Merrimack game was a big boost, and this week's pivotal.
Yeah, I mean, Evers started off the game, with a QB sweep, running outside.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, I mean, so set the tone as far as that. They were coming here to play. I think they got to get rid of some of the chunk plays that they had against them, against Duke getting against them. But overall, like if you look at like statistically, it was kind of Duke slightly better than Uconn, but for the most part, not much, right? Not a huge difference. I think the biggest difference, if you were to say, is Malik Murphy's passing.
Yeah, he was very, very efficient.
I think that was the difference overall. And I think if UConn can get a second, runner going, I mean, I think you're right. Like use a little more. I mean, if they could use a little more tight end personnel to be able to.
I like the tight end. The German kid Honig. I thought he did a nice job. He's a big body in there. Dave, you talked about how they use the sniffer.
Yep.
I love the sniffer. I'm a big sniffer fan. I still have the old school Randy Edsel mentality of get under center, run some power, run some counter, and do it that way, knock people off the ball. And that's how they had success. I don't like them being in the gun as much as they are because they're limited personnel wise by doing that. They're 11
Everybody's
personnel.
in the gun now.
I know.
Everybody's in the gun for more than half the game. I think we have to take care of the football. We have to, we had a fumble. We they turned the ball over. We had opportunities, and we just have to take advantage of those. But the truth is, like, it was there for the taking. It was there.
No, 100%. It
And
we shut
down. We shut down the times when, when they were up on us, 10-0, and it could have went down south. Last year that would have went south fast. I think they fought back.
We have big stops.
Yep. I think that was a big deal because they were down, and looked like Duke was kind of moving through them, and they fought back. So I think that's real positive. Like I said, I think coming out of this, they were down in this game 17-0, right? The Duke's Uconn scored to make it 17-7 that near the end of half. And then they fought back from down 17-0, right, to take the lead 21-17.
Right. Yes, they had the lead briefly, and then Duke drove down and scored.
Down the field, scored, right. So
okay.
So we're not that far off. We just have to keep getting better. I think, like I said, winning a loss stinks, but a loss that stinks with progress is not a big is really not a big deal.
The whole moral victory, right? The whole moral victory.
Well, if they take this and with the rest of their schedule until Syracuse, they could go on a big run, and the only bigger school team is Wake Forest. Down the line, like they legitimately should have a chance to be sitting at coming in the Syracuse game 7-3. So we'll see if that happens. We'll see if we can get over that hump. But I think the big thing is that's legitimately an option. That's a legitimate chance if we're playing and improving the way that we've been improving. And 2 weeks ago, I would not have said that after watching the Maryland game. Yeah. I just said, "Oh my God, we're terrible," and Merrimack was perfectly situated right there, take a nice beating from us, and then now we can kind of roll into our season. So hopefully everybody. And it showed. I thought they showed resilience being down 17-0. That to me is a testament of win or loss of whether the team is bought in.
Jim Moore held them together for sure.
Yep, he held it together. They held it together. They were able to fight through that and get back in that game. And I think that's the difference what you see between where they were 2 weeks ago and now, which is absolutely huge progress for the team, that they're really on a path where they could actually be in a good position. Listen, they go 7-3, they'll be bowl eligible, right? So
they would go. I think that 7-5, or at least 7-5. I think they have everyone on their schedule. I think they have the capability to compete with. Syracuse has obviously improved, but Buffalo, Temple, Florida Atlantic, Rice, they beat last year. UAB, UMass is a UMass. I mean, they should win a minimum of 6, if not 7. Ronel, are you looking at that schedule? Do you feel?
Yeah.
Do you kind of feel the same way?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that these guys have definitely, like David said, show like they've been able to bounce back from a tough game at Maryland and come back, but it's continue the momentum, which is just key, right? It's just staying positive and keeping that same mindset, bounce back from these losses and continue to have a good season.
Yeah, I mean, people don't understand that it's 60 new players. You take any team and you give them 60 new players, and you're replacing that many guys with that many changes. There are going to be growing pains, and it's not going to be easy to get it all functioning on all cylinders immediately. So I the good thing is, like Dave said, it's been progress week to week. It's been progress week to week. Florida Atlantic's a big one. Buffalo is a big one because, as Coach Baylock said, they're honoring all the captains at home. And there's one other game. I'm not sure where they're
Coach
honoring.
Baylock said that, by the way. Ronel, were you a captain?
No, he wasn't.
No.
No, and neither was Steve, and neither was I. When Coach Baylock said that, I said,
Captain, I was lucky to be on the
I
team.
said, well, obviously I'm not invited, so I'm not overly thrilled about it.
Yeah.
Dave, you would have screwed up the coin toss. They would have told you to call heads. You would have called tails, or they would have told you to defer. You would have took the football. You would have done something.
No, I would have got it right.
I think I was captain for one game, and then they fired
Yes, that's right. Ronel's year. We were talking about that, Dave.
Yeah.
Ronel's senior year, Randy running.
We had a new captain every game
with no captains.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've done that before.
He said we're not having any captains. We're going to do game captains, and then at the end of the year, we're going to vote on it and see who the real captain was.
Honestly, I've coached for a long time.
You've done that before?
Of course. It depends on your team, dude. Like if you think your team, if you think there's no, I don't know,
identity
standouts, and you have a lot of guys, you could have a senior team that we had. I coached that won the state championship. I was in the coordinator there. We won the state championship, and we had a lot of seniors. They were a really good high school team, and we go to get ready to maybe pick captains, and a couple of people are like, parents were like, let's make sure you choose my kid as captain. You know what? The coach did the most brilliant thing. The guy who was the head coach at the time. Most brilliant thing ever.
Ain't none of you were captain.
No, he said every senior's a captain. He's like, we'll rotate it, and you guys all going to get an opportunity to go out there. As long as everybody does the job, you're all captains, and each week we'll just pick different guys to go out and do the toss. And I thought it was a brilliant move because it quieted every parent down, every player down, and you didn't have to worry about my captain or I got screwed, I'm not captain, or kind of thing, because that team did have a lot of seniors that were actually pretty good leaders, and it was pretty hard, but there was nobody that was like, what I'm saying,
stepping up to separate.
Yeah, but they had a lot of solid guys, and you know what? It worked. The team won the state championship. So
you're a genius.
That wasn't me. It wasn't me. The guy who was the head coach. I was.
You were the DC.
I was the special teams coordinator, and I was the O-line, Steve Cully. I was the O-line and D-line.
Dave, I don't doubt it.
My only year served as an O-line, D-line coach, I won the state championship. That's my testament to saying.
Your claim to fame.
That's my claim to fame. The only year I served as the O-line, D-line coach, that team won the state championship. And I'll tell you this: every Sunday, we played Friday night, I think it was. Every Saturday morning, we would go to this place in the town next to where we played in, and it had this great breakfast spot. And I told those guys, you count your pancakes up, and if we have a certain number of pancakes, certain number of grade, that next morning we're at breakfast. And then I'll tell you, they were there. I want to say out of the 12 weeks, I don't know if they missed a week. We might have been there every week because they were so good, dude. They were so into the pancake thing. The grade thing, like, kids are like grades. But pancakes, man, let me tell you something. Pancakes, guys would be coming over to, they would pancake a kid, and they'd be like, I've got 2 today, like pointing at me. After they pancake, they're on the field.
They point them out to you.
That's one right there. Boom, that's one. Like our running backs loved it. They had holes, and they weren't gigantic linemen. They were all like wrestlers or hoop players. So they were all like,
they're the best, man. They cover people up.
6'2", 210, between 210 and 230.
Scrappy.
Our left tackle was a stud, but he was like 230,
Yeah.
But it was all those dudes, all of them.
Dude, the best
guy of all. The best guy of all was he ended up going to William and Mary. The next year he was a star. He was our sixth guy, and he ended up playing tight end the next year. But he was our sixth guy, and we would like our claim to fame was our sixth lineman. What was a kid that actually went on full scholarship? He was 6 foot.
Mary.
Yeah, he ended up being 6'5" and like 270 down the line. You know what I mean? But like in high school, he was still like 6'5", like 220. He was still kind of getting there. And then the next year, he ended up being a stud. But yeah, that was came from our sixth guy was actually the scholarship guys. The 5 starters weren't even scholarship guys.
Did you like coaching the offensive line?
I loved it. You
did.
But then I was a head coach again for many years. So I would be, I'd have to kind of, I would go down with the line, but I would really have to kind of still stay with the skill guys, just so everybody understood the scheme, especially the quarterbacks. But because I usually would do the quarterbacks when I was head coach. But we would go listen, I would go down there. I would love it because when I would have line coaches, I'd be like, how are you blocking this? And I knew like how you could block it and how different ways you can handle it. But that guy forced me to coach the line. I had never coached.
You weren't allowed to vote. You were just told.
He said,
"Hey, Dave, you're coaching the line."
I'm like, oh, okay. So that was great. You know what else was great about it? I didn't have to worry about looking the part either anymore. I was.
Oh, you can let it hang
out. That year, I went from all those breakfasts. I was a little bigger than that now, but I went from 250 to 270. And then after that year, when I went back to being a head coach, I was back down to like 240, 250. But that year, man, we were just having such a great time. Oh man.
You bribe your offensive line.
You're hanging out with the offensive defensive line, you're gonna put some weight on,
Oh, and our D line was so good because it was a lot of the same guys, but we took a couple of guys that were like tight ends and they were our DNs, and just but it was that team, by the way, ran the 3-5-3.
Oh, 3-5-3. Dave, if I had Bill Belichick as my DC, I wouldn't coach.
The guy who was our DC, who's now like a legendary DC in North Jersey, he's now more of a 3-4 guy, like a 3-4 multiple.
Yeah.
But originally he was a 3-5 guy because he was young and but we were already, even though we were 3-5, we were already multiple at that time. Like he was already doing stuff that was like not really like core 3-5 stuff. But that was during the heyday. That was 2007. That was when West Virginia.
Rich Rodriguez, yeah. Well, I don't even know the true personnel of the 3-5-3. Is it a 3-3 stack and the two outside guys are nickels? Okay.
So, like, I mean, I don't know what Uconn calls the guys, but we used to call everybody
a rover or whatever.
Well, yeah. So we would call we would have like Mike, Sam, Will, right?
Right.
In whatever he called it, with those 3 letters, And then we used to have he might have called them like Blood and Guts or something, and then like the right side rover was another name, and the left side rover was another name. But the right side, like one of those rovers were always designated as really like a possible true cover guy. And the other guy was really more of a true linebacker, more linebacker stylish who could cover. So that team that was great. The right side guy, the right side rover was 6'3", 210.
So they didn't flop field to boundary. They played right and left.
They played right and left.
Okay.
So right and left. So I'm sorry. So because whatever side, the left, he was on the left side because the team running to the right. So that guy was a stud. He was 6'3", 210. The heavy run side is the right side, so he was the left side. The other guy was a smaller guy. He was like 5'11", like 170. Yeah. He was more of like a cover guy. He would roll back. And so if you got a team that was run heavy, that guy stepped up. The big guy stepped up more towards the line. The other guy rolled back is like to give you a cover 2 or cover 4 look.
Right.
So So that essentially gave you like a 3-4.
So you're playing an odd stack with the walk up.
Yeah.
I got you.
And we weren't like we would the way we did it. Like you showed back then, you showed stack, but then he would
stem or whatever.
He would move. Yeah, they would move.
Yeah, I hated that.
He did a lot of cool stuff. Now he's like much more of like a 3-4 guy. So basically, it becomes a 50. It becomes a 52. Yeah. Type of thing. And he used to mix it up between playing cover up and back on guys. Now I think he's probably a loose. His corners probably play loose.
Keeps everything in front of him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just break on it. But that's a little bit because obviously high school football's changed too, where people can pass more now.
Yeah.
And they're going into power sets. So from guns. So you're like, you got guys spread out, but they have a sniffer, 2 backs, in the tight end. So if you're,
that's what I like.
Right. So now that guy has to roll down. So you could easily be a 4-3. You could be a 3-4. You could be a 5-2,
Yeah, you're multiple.
You're multiple. But yeah, I don't, I really have to do a deep dive to really, I may do that this week and really watch a bunch of just a defensive film and come back and explain to you exactly what they're doing, because I coached in it for a very long. I ran it as a head coach in the beginning. I would say it was most of my terrible teams because we didn't have enough guys, you know what I'm saying? So it was most of my good teams. They ended up having some sort of a forefront, you know what I mean? Because we had more D linemen that could do the job, Ideally, if you have stud D linemen.
Well, yeah, you want 4 down.
Yeah, ideally, if you can do that, unless you have Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks coming off the edges, then you're a 3-4, right? Because essentially they're so athletic, they can cover or be a down guy,
Ronel, did you guys rotate every series or every other series on the D line when you were there? Yeah, I know you guys had a pretty good rotation.
Yeah, we had a really good rotation. We had a really good rotation when we were there. I mean, and even like David said, we also had some good rushers too. So I mean, we had guys like when I was out there. You had Chad Cook when I was there. That was a DN. So I mean, the funny thing is, like, our defensive line guys ran like a 4.6, like Chad ran a 4.6, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, he was physical.
You know what I mean? Like you had Robert Braswell, he ran like a 4.6. You had Ron Gamble. I mean, he ran like a 4.6, 4.7. Yeah, Timko there. So we had Khalid Riley. I mean, he was sick.
He was the BU guy.
Great,
And then my earlier years when I played even with David, we had Tremblay.
I heard about him. Yeah,
I mean, he was
monster. An offensive guy, right? That they moved over.
He actually came in as from Georgia, transferred over.
Oh, he transferred. He was a transfer.
Yeah, he transferred from Georgia. But yeah, we had a great group of guys. And then the year when I played with David, we had like Russo and some of those guys. You remember David?
Yes. Oh yeah, those guys. Listen, when I was
were nuts, right?
Oh my God, my senior year, I think the D linemen were Richie Connors was our weak side end, who was undersized but had like a motor. It was Russo was the nose guard, and Uconn was the 3 tech, and then Chad Cook was a redshirt freshman, but Chad Cook was the strong side end.
Yeah,
which was I was the strong side linebacker, and we were on the same side. And I'll tell you, like, I would have to, the strong side linebacker would have to stand in the middle of Russo and Uconn when we'd be in the huddle. I mean, I don't know if guys huddle still that much in defense anymore.
They don't. They just kind of sugar huddle.
Yeah, but we stuck. We come to the huddle, and other than Hofstra, but we come into the huddle, and man, I would come into the huddle, and Uconn would the first thing he would say is, "These guys keep holding me every play." That's all he said the whole
every play. Yeah,
the whole game. All he said was guys kept holding me. And then Russo would just tell him to shut the you know what up. Okay. And then Connors was relatively quiet in the huddle, but like those two were nuts. And Chad Cook would tell him occasionally, shut the F up, But Kutat, every play, dude. Every single play of the game would be
You guys had
he's
a
holding me every
strong
play.
squad though, David. I remember your linebacker squad was solid. I mean, you guys were solid, man. It was
Me,
Keely,
and Shem.
and
And then Shem got hurt, I think, and the Gooch played.
Yep,
and
Gooch came in as well.
And Dexter Martin.
Yeah, you guys had a strong. Yeah.
We were great up front, and then we had
Trombley
might have been on that
Wagner
line
as well, right? Lou Wagner.
Lou Wagner.
He was like 28, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was safety. Sorry, he was safety.
Yeah, Clint Hamilton.
Yeah, man.
We were a little weak. We were because the corners were young, like Phil and who's the other guy? It was Kevin Foster. They were young, and then Kevin Bannister. I think Kevin Bannister was actually our strong. He was
like a rover.
Yeah, I can't remember how they did it, but
he played like a rover type of position.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yep.
But we were a corner. We had to play the freshman, and that was like our hardest. Our front was, our D line was good. They're very fast. Everybody was fast.
Yeah,
everybody's fast.
Oh, they were good.
You would have said we were undersized, in today's game, but
yeah,
I was terrified of Chad Cook. I don't think I talked to him for 3 months.
Oh, and Dupree we had. You know what else we had? Dupree. Remember Chris Dupree?
Yeah.
He ended up being a D lineman, I think, though, right?
Yeah.
But Chris Dupree at the time was a linebacker also.
Yep.
Yeah, do you know Chris Dupree, Steve Cully?
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh, man. His son plays for Alabama.
All I know is I came in, I saw Ronel, Chad Cook, and Ronel, Chad Cook, and Gamble, and I wanted to transfer.
Yeah, Dupree's son played originally at Maryland, transferred to Alabama.
Oh, really? Wow.
I don't know if he might still have one more year. I didn't look, but I know he was playing last year. He was the tight end, one of their tight ends.
Oh wow, yeah, no, he was a great athlete.
His son is 6'5". It's funny because he was only like 6 feet. His son is 6'5".
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to get him on. That would be quite an interesting.
I'm trying to get Wilbur still. I got to get Wilbur.
Oh, you got to get Wilbur.
Well,
yeah, you did a great job with Hez.
Hez called him on the phone, and I got him mixed up. I thought Lenny called him on the phone. So I asked Lenny for his number, and Lenny didn't know what I was talking about. And I forgot that I interviewed Hez and Lenny back to back, so I got him confused. So I got to ask Hez.
You probably Phil should get you with Ernie Lowe. Ernie Lowe was on our team as well.
I'd love to have him. I heard he was really good too.
Yeah, he was really good DN.
Was he a transfer?
Great guy.
Great. Okay. Ernie Lowe is
he was
great guy.
I think he's from Philly, right?
Okay.
Yeah. No, he was
he was Philly.
Yeah, Ernie's okay. Yeah, man. No, we had a fun, great group of this guys.
No, you guys did.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. I mean, yeah, getting back to that rotation. Yeah, we would rotate. My senior year, they put me out at end sometimes for rushing.
Yeah, they would try to do
like rotate
different
us
games.
Yeah, different games. They would do like put us 3. So it was fun. It was definitely fun. Yeah,
I remember Randy came in one halftime because the D linemen were all complaining that they were getting held. And Randy said, well, what the fuck? They must be playing with 22 guys then if they're holding you every play. Everyone's getting held. I guess they must have 22 guys out there. You're getting held. You're getting held. You're getting held. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
I can tell you that
That cracked me up.
I've been around a lot of people that, players like everybody like gets frustrated during the game. Like especially if someone's pretty good, you're against you and you're trying to get by this guy or whatever. But it's Uconn. It didn't matter if he was going against, and you got to get him on, by the way, if you can. I don't know where he is, but if you could find him, me and him used to be really close.
Witness protection, but I'll try to find him.
I don't know what happened to him. But
you should get Russo on.
Russo would be great. Oh my! You should get those two together. You should get those two together.
Yeah. It was
Is he on Facebook, Russo?
He's a head coach somewhere, I thought, before Connecticut, right?
Okay.
He's in Connecticut, Russo.
Okay.
Yeah.
His son plays for Sacred Heart, I think.
Oh wow. Okay. No, I'll reach out to him.
He's like a strength coach, I think, or something.
I'll reach out to him for sure.
Yeah, listen. Those guys, Russo
is nuts. Oh man,
nuts, hilarious. He would have. He would. I don't know if they allow that anymore, but he like.
No, I heard he was a mental case. I heard he started brawls at bars. I heard he was just.
He was awesome.
But he was chill at the same time. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like he was a maniac in football. You know what I mean?
There was that country bar off campus. They said he started a brawl at. I can't remember the name of it, and the bar got shut down. It was right before I got there. It was off of 195. I can't remember the name of it. And they said Russo single-handedly got a shutdown. That's all I heard about.
Yes, that's right. There was that bar up that used to be like a country
western
bar.
Yes. I was told that
I heard about that. That might have been when I
got a shutdown.
Yeah, I think that was the year after.
Yes,
I was done playing. I was at grad school. I remember that happening
because it was before I got there.
Yep.
I drove by it and it was empty and closed down. And then I can't remember who told me the story. I think it was Burton, and Burton was just said, "You don't know this guy, but he was a real nut job." And his name was Pat Russo.
He was a great. At least I used to hang out with him.
If you looked at him the wrong way, watch out.
You know what? There were great guys. It was him and but it was like it was a crew of them that all hung out. What was the center? He was hilarious as well.
What, the Jedi?
They used to play. He played the drums, and these guys were funny.
He was offense. He was a center and offense.
Not Courtney Williams.
No. It was like about 3 or 4 of them. Burton hung out as well.
Okay.
Yeah, all those guys. They were.
Not Durfus. No.
No, Durfus played a little center.
With you?
I played with Durfus. I played with Yeah. Durfus, Darby, Burton.
No, it was before you.
It was
Steve.
before me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who our center was.
It wasn't the Jedi.
Who was the center my senior year?
Okay, I thought it was the Jedi.
Well, was Courtney Williams my center my senior
year? It would have had to have been before Courtney.
Well, there used to be a guy, Heinrich, who's like a principal now. He used to be the center when I was a redshirt freshman, but then he got hurt.
Yeah, I thought he came from. Was it Matt? Matt from DeMatha. He went to DeMatha with all those guys.
Oh, he was a DeMatha guy. Okay, so Dave would know him. DeArmas.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Oh, it's on my tip of my tongue. Oh, yes, he was wild.
I'll ask Dave. Dave would know.
These guys were just funny as ever, man. They were
hilarious,
man. It was like him, Russo, all those guys would hang out, man. I'm like, hell, these guys would definitely. They made it fun, right? You know.
Well, they were fun.
Yeah.
Fezzi
coming to practice.
Was the one.
You don't want to go to practice, and these guys would just make practice a fun time, man. You know.
Fezzi was the one for me.
That's true, Ronel. You're 100% right. Like they were. It was Russo was intense, but he was like they were all intense, but they were having fun at the same time.
They were having a good time.
Yeah,
I don't think he was having fun was Uconn. I just think he was mad. I think Uconn was just mad. But he was mad that he had to practice. He was mad that
It depends if you were at the Berkshires or not. That also played a part.
No, we didn't. You guys went to the Berkshire. We did.
You guys. I never did.
No.
Oh, okay.
I
No,
think
we had
Ronel, you
2
guys
days
did with
on.
Shane, right?
Yeah,
You guys
Ronell
Yeah.
came.
Yeah, we had 2 days on campus actually when you were there.
Yes.
Yeah, we were on campus.
Yeah, we're on
Yeah.
campus.
I
Yeah.
remember we used to would just be like, as
The
soon as you saw
Berkshire was maddening.
the other girl, the other sport girl teams start coming in, I'm like, oh yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. Other teams
Yep.
are coming in. Other teams are coming. I see girls walking around on campus, some other sports. I'm like, we're almost there. We're almost there.
I
Yeah.
know, right? It was some
Meanwhile,
long days.
the lunch ladies at the Berkshires were looking better and better every week. That's all I remember. That's how you knew you were losing it. You were
That's when
losing
you're
it when
losing
you
your
see the
mind,
lunch
right?
ladies walk by. Yep. That's what it got down to.
You know, the other thing that was one of my favorite times too was, so you know when we get like they would have, I think it was at the end of camp. I think the day we all move into the dorms, they would have a
moving day.
campus-wide barbecue. You remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? It would be like
Randy didn't do it. Randy didn't do it.
Oh, see, that was my favorite thing. Like,
mixed it.
oh man,
I heard about it though. You play softball.
I would be like, Shane, you're coming. Let's go. I would tell you, you got. This is where all the kids that are coming that are new. We're all gonna go to the barbecue. We're gonna meet people. That's we gonna meet people.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I was actually just thinking about it as well. Who's in my roommate, Jeff DeLucia. You should.
Oh, Jeff.
Oh, I love DeLucia. I love DeLucia.
Get him on.
I don't know if he could formulate a sentence, but we could try. I was with DeLucia. I was with DeLucia a couple years ago. Terry McClowry had a Christmas party. He had an ugly sweater party. And Jeff had a very good time. He had a very good evening. He had the night of his life at the ugly sweater party.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And he was a captain.
That's awesome.
He was a captain. Yes.
Before we get off, we gotta get everyone's predictions for this week's game, because I predicted.
We're not supposed to do that till Friday, but go ahead.
No, I thought we'd do it for this one.
We do a show on Friday for the Florida Atlantic prediction. We can do it.
Ronell's not going to be on, so we got to get.
I want to get his pick. Absolutely.
I absolutely.
It's at home. I gotta check the. I didn't see what the spread was on it. I definitely want to see what the spread is.
I think we're gonna see UConn probably have another blowout game. You know, I think it's going to be exciting. Give them some more confidence to go into some of these other.
UConn's a favorite.
Yeah,
they should be. They should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, UConn's minus 4.5. Holy wow. Yeah.
I would take that bet 100%.
Minus 4.5.
I think UConn's going to win. I think UConn wins.
Let me see.
28-14 this game.
28-14. Yeah. Yeah.
Michigan State 16-10. Army.
I'm going to go 28-7.
Okay, there you go. How about you, Steve? You got one yet or no? You going to wait till Friday?
No, I saw enough offensively. I think they can score points. I think they should at least be able to score 35.
I think they could.
If Florida Atlantic doesn't run by them, I think it could be 35-14, 35-17.
There's no way Florida Atlantic has a good line because Army
torched
ran
them.
through them, right?
Yeah.
So that means their D line and their O line must be suspect.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think they have a good defense. Do they have a good defense, Florida Atlantic?
Well, they gave up 16 to Michigan State. I mean, they gave up 20 to Florida International, and they gave up 24 to Army. So,
and what's Army? I don't know what Army's record is.
Army.
That might be a good gauge. Army is.
Hold on.
Army beat Florida Atlantic.
Oh, they're good. Army's 2-0. They're 2-0.
They beat Lehigh. I mean,
yeah, they're 2-0. They're 2-0. They have a bye they play Rice this.
They have a similar schedule to us, I guess.
They had a bye the 14th, so they had a bye this past week. So they play Rice. So Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll score points. The defense scared me because they were misaligned a few times. They rotated the coverage the wrong way a few times. They get that cleaned up and don't let people run by them. I just don't blitz. Just sit and cover 4 and keep everything under you. Then I'll be happy.
No doubt about
Fun.
That's my take. That's my take.
Right.
And just feed Edwards. Just feed him.
I think Evers is going to be able to run against these guys too, and probably.
I know. I just don't want him to be concussed.
Right.
If he can run without being concussed, I'll be happy.
All right. Well,
and Cam Edwards.
Listen, check out Ronel Jump's company, Green
Street Trust International.
Green Street Trust. Make sure you check them out. Hit up Ronel. It's great having you on, buddy. It's really, really great having you on.
Yeah, we love
thank
Ronel.
you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. Definitely great catching up with you both and connecting.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen. Well, have a
Good
good rest of the week.
All right. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life.